Looks like we got some folks coming in. It's great. Some still kind of floating in. All right, I think we should get started. All right, welcome everyone to the Elk Grove Unified School District Virtual College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today for the entire program. My name is Chelsea and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time. This is just one of many sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website. This presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/elk/grove. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenter, Caitlin.
All right, well, hi everybody. My name is Caitlin. I am a college rep. I'm an assistant director of admission from Willamette University. I use she, her pronouns. I'm located in Salem, Oregon. So a little far away from y'all, but I'm so excited to talk about college life for first year students or freshman students. So I would encourage you to put your questions in the chat. I'll definitely have time for some Q&A afterwards, but essentially we're just going to go over a couple of main points, kind of what's on everybody's mind of what the first year experience is like. So in this session, we're going to cover what you should know before you arrive to campus, identifying those systems of support, adapting to college level academics, and finding your folks, finding your community. So you've been accepted. What is next? What comes after that? You definitely are going to want to stay connected. You're going to get a school email. You're going to want to keep an eye on that email and your personal email as well. After you've been admitted and accepted, you'll start to get super essential information like housing assignments, meal plans, signing up for classes, etc. All of these things that are super important to stay on top of and keep track of. So do not wait until the last minute. Keep an eye on your email, your school email, and make sure you're doing those enrolling student steps. Check out social media. Most orientation groups or schools have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok accounts. So you can take that step to introduce yourself to your peers, to your class, and just get to know people. You can also get your questions answered. So most schools have websites or web pages just dedicated to the first year experience. It can range from what you should pack, what are some essentials to bring with you to campus that first year, some do's and don'ts, where to park your car possibly, or parking permits. It can be about accessible education services, signing up for classes, etc. Do some web sleuthing, get your questions answered. If you're not sure where to start or you still have additional questions, you can connect with your admission rep or your counselor. I can't stress this enough. Even after you're admitted, we are here to still answer your questions and connect you with other people in the campus community. So even if it's a question about signing up for classes or housing or anything in between, you can always touch base with your admission rep and we will do a great job of connecting you with that campus partner so you know where to get your questions answered. So it's always a good home base to talk to the admission office. Get excited. You're going to pack, you're preparing, you're getting pumped to take those next steps. Definitely reach out, like I mentioned, talk to your peers through that Facebook page, the Twitter account, Instagram, etc. Connect with your roommate. Once those assignments come out, you can definitely get a jump start on getting to know who you're going to be living with for the next year. So chatting with them, understanding kind of what you might want to set up the room or different decorations types or who's bringing the coffee machine, etc. Those are all wonderful things to talk about with your roommate and just getting to know them better before you get to campus. Also talk to your orientation leaders. Most schools have an orientation program and you'll be assigned 2 wonderful upperclassmen folks who are there to help shepherd you into this new experience, into this next chapter. They are super friendly. That's the whole part of being an orientation leader. They want to be here to help you get acclimated to school. So make sure that you talk with them. They're also a great resource if you do have any questions about campus life or anything like that. And they'll also be sending you updates throughout the summer about what to expect, how to prepare, etc. So talk to them. They're wonderful, wonderful resources. Yeah, stay on track. I can't emphasize this enough. I know I've mentioned it already, but as you celebrate over the summer, do not forget to check on those important dates, deadlines, and updates. So as I mentioned, housing could be one about choosing your housing assignments or meal plans. It could also be about just general information like emergency contact information. You do not want to wait until the last minute to update everything or to log on. All of a sudden, all of these deadlines have passed and you have to submit all of this information the night before you leave for college. You want to get that done early and so you can celebrate and just focus on getting ready to come to campus. All right, so you're on campus. How to find support. So you want to identify your resources. You can find places, people, and groups that you can go to if you need support. It's always a good idea to do this early. It's good to be familiar with what your campus offers regarding campus health centers, mental health counselors, accessible education services, and academic support, just to name a few. Identifying these early is really helpful because if you ever need these resources, you already know where to go. Typically, the first year experience includes knowledge or getting information about these resources ahead of time. So hopefully, if you do need them, you already have a pamphlet or an email, or you just know where to find these resources. But become well versed in them. Explore the campus, find out where the campus health center is located, or talk to someone in the academic support center to understand specifically what type of academic support they provide. And also professors, staff, and faculty are wonderful systems of support. Kind of like what I mentioned with the admission office as, you know, a great go-to if you have questions before getting to campus. Staff and faculty members are wonderful if you have questions and you're not sure where to start. They're there to help and support you through every part of your journey, both academically and also if there's anything you need regarding accessible education, academic support, or you just need directions to the campus health center. They're there to help as well. So definitely identify your resources early on and just keep that in your back pocket. So that way, you know where you can seek out help, and you can also help out your friends and other folks if they have any questions. You can say, oh yeah, I know where the campus health center is. It's this way and that way. You can direct them to it. All right, so acclimating to academics. This is a huge topic, right? I mean, you might be nervous. You've been admitted.
I don't know that.
Oh, I think that, sorry, that was one of my, I think it was my Alexa. But yeah, so definitely take that jump into college academics. It can be nerve-wracking. It can be a little scary. It can be intimidating at face value, but rest assured you will make that transition. You will make that jump just fine. Part of what helps ease that transition is introductory courses. Most first-year students will take introductory courses just so you can get your kind of feet wet in academics at this institution. They're not designed to be the most challenging. I'm sure they're still going to be, you know, challenging as you're exploring academics in a brand new way, but you're going to be taking introductory courses or general education courses that first year because it'll allow you to really understand what it'll be like to be a full-time college student, to take a full course load, etc. So you're going to be set up for success. You won't be set up for failure. And I also want to take a moment to talk about imposter syndrome. Sometimes you might feel like you're not supposed to be at college or at that campus, or you feel intimidated, but remember, we admitted you. We know how fantastic you are, and we know that you're going to do a wonderful job. So I just want to let that sink in for a moment, that we all have been there, right? We all get to a place where we're like, oh, maybe I'm in over my head. Maybe I can't do this. But just know that you're meant to be at that space. You are meant to succeed, and you're going to succeed. It can feel scary, it can feel different, but it's designed to make sure that you're successful and that you're going to learn and have a wonderful experience. So making that jump into college academics, it can be intimidating, but you're going to be all right. And there are systems in place designed to make sure that you will become acclimated quickly. In terms of academic support, as you can see, this slide is filled with information because there's a lot of systems of support, especially academic support. So if you are struggling in a class, definitely talk to your professor. I know that can be a little scary, but they're there to support you, especially in academics. Typically, they have office hours posted, which is, of course, their preferred time to visit. And if that time doesn't work for you, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm so sorry, I have work, or I'm unable to meet at this time. Does anything else work before class, after class, etc.? And most likely they'll just be really excited that you care enough to want to ask for help and you want to understand these concepts. And so they're going to want to find a time to meet so you can be successful. So just keep that in mind. Professors are here to help. It can be scary to ask for help sometimes, but definitely it is something you should and feel encouraged to do. Also checking in with classmates. That's a great rule of thumb. Most of the time, if you have a question, someone else has that same question too. So finding folks to create a study group with, that is a wonderful way to get your own system of support. It might be a little less intimidating than talking to your professor or a teacher's assistant. But yeah, checking in with your classmates and saying, hey, I did not understand problem 3. What did you get? And working it out together can be great. And also then you have a buddy, because let's say your study group doesn't quite understand a concept or a question, then you could all go to your professor together and say, hey, Professor so-and-so, we didn't quite understand this. So you kind of create your own system of support in that class. And it's also a great way to meet people and to make new friends. Regarding tutoring, most schools do offer free academic tutoring. It's really important to identify your school's academic support system early on. Like I mentioned with just the general support systems, it's good to know it before you need to use it. So just knowing, okay, my school offers free academic tutoring in these subjects, or this is where the academic commons is located on campus, is really helpful. So when that time comes, you can just go up to the academic commons and say, I need some help. I'd love a student tutor in this area. And so definitely checking your school's policy and being familiar with it early on is really, really helpful. And don't wait. I, again, cannot emphasize this enough. If you're struggling academically, do not wait until right before midterms, finals, or a big test to reach out. Typically, midterms and finals fall during a time when professors are especially busy. So finding time to meet with them outside of the classroom might be a little more difficult. Likewise with tutoring. Tutors are typically students too, and so they might not be as available during midterms or final season either. It's always a good idea to ask for help early academically, especially. If you wait until midterms or finals, most likely you're not going to be able to absorb every single concept before that time comes. And so, yeah, I just do not wait until the last minute. I think a lot of students hold on and then all of a sudden it boils over before a big test, and you know, they need to get the resources quickly, but then the resources are a little spread thin just because of the time of year. So do not wait to ask for help. Everybody struggles with an academic subject or concept or idea. And so asking early is key. Finding your folks. Okay, so we've covered, you know, what to do before you get to campus. And then when you're at campus, how to find support, how to acclimate to academics. But a huge part of college is finding your community, finding people who you feel like will really support you and be there for you. So I think that, you know, finding your folks can be both exciting and I'm sure a little scary too. So I just encourage all of you to explore different clubs and activities and student groups, even ones that you might not consider at first. Go check out chess club, even if you've never played chess, just to see what it's like and just to meet new people. A lot of campus events are held pretty regularly, of course, you know, pre-COVID, and now that we're learning how to acclimate big events in a COVID setting, they're coming back. So definitely keep tabs on these big campus events. I know at Willamette, we have a Willamette events board. Their whole goal is to just plan really fun things for students, whether it's a comedian or a singer or a magician even we've had, or a lecture series. So keep tabs on different events that are happening on campus. As I mentioned, try something new. Most schools will have a huge activities fair, and there are a ton of organizations to choose from. It doesn't hurt to put your name on a sign-up sheet to say, yeah, I'll try improv club for a semester. Why not? I guess you would yes and that situation, but it would just be a really fantastic way to just see if you even like that thing. And who knows, maybe you have an affinity for it. Maybe you find people that you think are really amazing and you connect with people. So just trying something new is exciting, kind of what college is about. Also, most schools tend to have a school paper, a website, regular emails or updates highlighting these events, clubs, or activities. So keep a tab on that at Willamette. It's called Willamette Today, and it comes in everybody's inbox at 6 in the morning, and it says these are the different things to check out. Here's what's happening at the local museum. Here are some guests on campus that you can meet with, etc. You can even find campus jobs. You can connect with internship opportunities through this way of keeping up with your school. So make sure that you don't just ignore those emails, because you never know what cool thing is coming to campus. And if you're not sure where to start, you can always create your own club or activity or organization. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, and you don't see that there's a club dedicated to that on campus, start your own, or just say, hey, I want to play, I want to do a campaign, I want to run a session. Who's interested in that? And you'll be surprised how many people would enthusiastically raise their hand and say, yeah, I'd love to try it out, or I am really passionate about this and I'd love to be a part of your group. So it's always a good way to start by just creating your own club or organization. And remember a couple of things. Homesickness happens. It happens to everybody. Keep in touch with your friends and family from home. You know, whether that is a virtual game night you do with your friends, or calling your parents and siblings, you know, every month at least. It happens to everybody. Don't feel like it just happens to you. I know it can be really easy to feel like you're the only one experiencing homesickness, but it does happen, especially in that first year. You know, you're away from home from the first time, you're having new experiences, academics are different, everything is a little different, which can be really exciting, but also can make you maybe miss home a little bit. So just be sure that you are open and honest about your feelings. Your friends are probably feeling the same way if they're going to different schools, or even the new friends that you make at your current school. They might feel it too. They probably will express that at some point or the other. So I would encourage you to keep in touch with your friends and family from back home and just be honest about how you're feeling. You'll be surprised how big a difference something as small as a text or a FaceTime can make when you're feeling homesick. So just keep that in mind, that it does happen, it's valid, and it happens to everybody. Also keep in mind that you will find friends in time. There's a big pressure, I think, that students feel when they come to campus, that they have to find their best friends for all 4 years the minute they step onto campus within their first class or their orientation group. And that simply does not happen. You will find friends that will be with you throughout your 4 years, throughout your life, your first day of college, your first week of college, your last day of college. You will find people as time goes on. So just be open your first day, your first week, your first month, etc., to meeting new people. Nobody has it figured out on day one. Again, that's a common misconception. You might be looking around saying, well, they already have a whole friend group figured out, or, you know, no one asked me to get lunch today. Just know that nobody has every single thing figured out. It's not just you. Everyone's exploring and trying to find their people. So you will find friends in time, whether that's the first day or your second year of college or your third year of college. You're going to meet so many fantastic new people. You'll get to explore different friend groups. You'll get to explore different clubs and activities. But just know everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's starting on the same foot. Everyone's figuring out who they want to be and new people that they want to meet. So it's, you know, not just you again. And keep in mind that there's a community here to support you. If you do need anything, and you probably will, you will always have someone there who is there to help you. Whether that is a professor, a student, a staff member, anybody. You're in a community. You're welcomed into a new community, a new home away from home, if you would. So there are going to be people there that are there to help you with whatever you need. So just, again, do not be afraid to ask for help or ask questions, and take a deep breath. And, you know, most importantly, in college, be yourself. You are, you know, you were admitted to this school. Somebody on the other end of your application said, this person would be a fantastic member of the community. We admitted you. Be yourself. You'll find your people. You will make that jump into academics. You will, you know, be prepared to come to campus, and you'll have amazing experiences, explore academics, and you'll find support within that community. So the more you're yourself, the faster all of those things will come your way. And I can't, you know, if that's one thing you take away from this presentation, I know it might sound a little cheesy, but be yourself, truly. So thank you so much. I know that that was a pretty brief presentation, but I designed it so that way we had time for questions and answers. talking about first year life on campus is a huge topic, and I'm sure all of you have questions about that. So I wanted to leave, about 20 minutes for Q&A. If there are questions, I can answer them. And if we end a bit early, that means everyone just gets a little bit of time to take a moment before the college fairs start. Of course, I mentioned I'm from Willamette University. There's my contact information. So if you do want to get in touch, if you have questions about Willamette, or if you have questions just about campus life for first year students, let me know. I am happy to answer your questions. They don't have to be Willamette specific, but there's how you can get in touch with me. But I would love to open it up to questions that people might have. So please feel free to write in the Q&A. If you do have questions, I would encourage them. I'd be happy to answer them. Oh, that's a great question. Good tips for high school juniors. Okay, so if this question is referring to the application process, then what I would recommend is start looking at colleges now. It's never too early to start your college search. So I would start broadly by just thinking, what do you want to major in? What are some schools that have your academic fit? Where do you want to be when you go to college? Do you want to be close to home, or do you want to go far away? So starting to look at different schools and examining what you are interested in academically, where you want to be, the type of environment you want to be, the type of campus you're looking for, whether it's a big campus with a lot of people, or a really small campus that's more student-centered, whether it's a private school or a public school, a UC, a state school, or a liberal arts college out of state. Definitely start examining those big questions now and start narrowing down your list, but also exactly what you're doing, talking to different colleges, hearing what they have to say, what their different programs are like. So that would be kind of my main tip for junior students, is just starting to kind of look at that process. And then of course, as you go through junior year, you can familiarize yourself a little bit more with the application, depending on where you're applying. There are a lot of different types of college applications. And so definitely knowing what those schools you end up putting on your list require is always a good thing to do by the end of your junior year. That's a great question. Any other questions? Tips for out-of-state transfers. So if you are going out of state, then I would definitely recommend, well, if this question is referring to you're just somebody who's moving from out of state, then I would definitely say tour the campus, make sure that you like the environment of that new location, understand the different colleges you're applying to. For example, if you're applying to a private school like Willamette, the in-state versus out-of-state tuition will be the same. But if you're applying to a public school, the tuition rate might differ a little bit. So it really depends on the university. So I'd recommend visiting so you know what the environment is like, understanding the out-of-state policies for the different college, because some colleges might have specific scholarship opportunities available for out-of-state students versus in-state, or vice versa, or have a difference in tuition like I just mentioned. If you're talking about transferring as in you're a transfer student who has completed their associate's degree, then looking again at pathways. Some colleges take specific associate degrees, like the Associate of Arts degree, or in Oregon, we have the Associate of Arts Oregon Transfer degree. So understanding how your credits would transfer is huge, and talking to the registrar and the transfer coordinator at that institution would be really important. And again, I would encourage visits as well. I hope that answered that question. Let me know if there are any follow-ups to that in terms of tips for out-of-state students. The biggest one I would just recommend is visit the campus if you can, because it's really important, especially in that unfamiliar environment, just to know if you like being in that area and what it's like, and knowing things like the nearest airport and how you come home during the breaks, etc. Is always good to know about, especially if you're out of state. Any other questions? Like I said, my contact information is there. So please, again, do not hesitate to reach out. I will be in the first session. If you do, like a shameless plug, I guess, if you do want to learn more about Willamette, definitely tune into the session. I'm in group A3. But yeah, just feel free to write any other questions you have in the chat. I'll give it a couple more minutes. I know that we're getting started right at 5 with the other fair sessions, and as mentioned, there are so many wonderful institutions to check out. So I'm sure everyone would appreciate a brief break before the fair gets started. But yeah, definitely feel free to ask any other questions. And if no other ones pop in, then it was lovely getting to chat with all of you. And I hope that you're all having a great evening. Thank you. Awesome. All right, Chelsea, I think that wraps it up.
Awesome. Alrighty, then I'm gonna do a quick wrap up here. Alrighty. Awesome. Okay. That was a great session. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for going through all of that information. And thank you everyone for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. We highly encourage you to check out the rest of the sessions, the schedule, sign up for more sessions, anything you're interested in. You'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other sessions in case you missed something or just want to go back at strivescan.com/elk-grove. And thank you again, Caitlin, and have a great night, everyone.
Hi, everybody.